The Premier League, of course, Arsenal began their campaign with a 3-0 victory over Coventry City at the Emirates Stadium on Friday night. Kai Havertz was on the score sheet, scoring Arsenal's first goal of the season. And, of course, we had goals from Bukayo Saka, who was also on the score sheet. Then later on, Martin Odegaard then added a third to ensure that the Gunners begin their title campaign, their title defense on a good note. All right, joining us at this time to talk about the game that happened, of course, on Friday, and to preview games this weekend as a sports journalist in the United Kingdom. Will Phillips joins us this morning. Will, thank you so much for joining. All right, Will, let's talk about Arsenal. A big win, big statement win for the Gunners, who are looking at winning the title back-to-back. Let's talk about the game. What impressed you about the game? Do you think it was a game they found it so easy because of Coventry coming from Championship to the Premier League, or it was a well-worked-out game for the Arsenal and, of course, individual performances from the side, from the players?
I mean, it was definitely a game they were expecting to win, and people were expecting them to win. I think they looked. I think the thing that caught me by surprise is how sharp they looked. I think it's easy for the first game of the season. It's kind of, you can be a bit slow, maybe not fully with it, but all the players looked up for it, ready to play. Maybe that's because a lot of them just played at the World Cup, so they haven't really had that much downtime. That could affect them obviously later on in the season, not having a proper break. But for now, it seems to have kept them sharp, and they definitely looked like they were by far the better team. I think they were unlucky not to score a few more, to be honest.
All right, Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard got on the score sheet. But a lot of persons are talking about Christos Tzolis, who many liken to be the Alexis Sanchez of Arsenal in the past. What do you make of his debut performance for Arsenal on the night, and, of course, the players who got on the score sheet?
I mean, Tzolis looked very good. He looks like a very good signing. I'll be honest, I wasn't too familiar with him before he joined Arsenal, but he's everything I've seen of him so far suggests that he's a very promising young player that can probably go quite far. But I think, the first game of the season, you look at, Charlie Rangers for Manchester City at the start of last season, he looked incredible. And I think he's off now, leaving City. So first game of the season, it's too early to say, but definitely a good start for him. As with Havertz, Saka and Odegaard, they obviously looked incredible. They had a strong end to the season at the end of last season. They want to probably carry on that form on. I think the three of them did have quite good World Cups, so there's no reason why they can't carry on. Obviously, Havertz scored in the Champions League final at the end of last season. He's made another goal now. I think he scored in the Community Shield as well. So I think he's showing that he's going on a bit of a scoring streak.
All right, baby Nico, let me bring you on this conversation. Arsenal looking strong. Absence of William Saliba. They have Mosquera and Gabriel Magalhaes. They also have new signing, Ezri Konsa, who was on the bench the day that Arsenal defeated Coventry City. Do you think the Gunners can defend the title this season, or it's just the early days where they get to win some of the matches and then tend to struggle?
Well, I think with this Arsenal side, you can definitely predict that they'll give any team a run for their money this season when it comes to defending their title. I think they have backup players, quality backup players in every a wing at this point in time, and definitely looking at the way they played yesterday, even with the absence of the very key players, Saliba, they did very well for themselves, if you ask me, and I think they look very promising. Like they have, they have a statement to make that they want to defend their title. They want to be the next Man City of the EPL. And the way they are going about, doing their task at this point in time, it seems they might just live up to the bidding. But at the end of the day, it is still early days, and the players are still hungry. They are still basking in the euphoria of winning the EPL for the first time in 22 years. And definitely, I think they still have a lot in their tanks to go all the way.
Gentlemen, let's move on now and talk about other games. Liverpool and Manchester City begin a new Premier League season era this season without two of the biggest figures in their recent sides. Now, first off, Mohamed Salah will not be with Liverpool this season. There's also Josep Guardiola, who is also out from Manchester City. Now, Salah's departure signals an end to an iconic Liverpool career that produced 257 goals in 442 appearances. Then, of course, two Premier League titles and a Champions League triumph. By the way, new boss Andoni Iraola now faces a daunting task of replacing his attack influence. Man City also, by the way, Enzo Maresca is in charge, and Guardiola, who won 6 Premier League titles, 20 trophies during his decade in charge, with both clubs undergoing major changes. Now, with Salah leaving Liverpool and Guardiola stepping away from Manchester City, which club do you think faces the bigger challenge in replacing his biggest figure?
I think that it might seem obvious, but I think Manchester City probably will have a harder job replacing Guardiola. Players, as good as Salah was, I'm not trying to say he wasn't, players can come and go. I'm sure that it might take them some time, but some players will start firing, they'll get the goals. It might be dispersed more evenly throughout the team now. But eventually they can kind of, maybe not necessarily replace that attacking output, but they'll make up for it in one way or another. Whereas losing a manager, I think it can fundamentally change a side. There'll be players that brought in who are only brought in because they wanted to play for Pep. The whole club atmosphere now has to change to match Maresca's vision rather than to match Guardiola. So I think it will probably be a harder teething process for Manchester City to recover from losing Pep than it will be for Liverpool to recover from losing Salah.
All right, gentlemen, let's take a look at the fixtures for this weekend. There's Hull City against Manchester United, Everton against Crystal Palace, Ipswich will take on Sunderland. There is also Nottingham Forest against Leeds United, Brentford against Tottenham. What are your outcomes of this game? Hull City, Manchester United. Where do you see upsets? Where do you see wins?
Well, definitely, I think Man United should get a win over Hull City. Everton, Crystal Palace, that's a very dicey one. Crystal Palace having a new manager in charge as well. You really do not know what to expect from the side. Everton, a bit of consistency might just help them nick one over Crystal Palace. Ipswich Town, Sunderland. I think Sunderland might just overrun, the new boys in town. Nottingham Forest, Leeds United, a bit complicated. Brentford, Tottenham. I would love to see what, the new Tottenham manager has to do with Tottenham Hotspur this point in time. He's got a couple of expensive players into the side, fantastic midfielders as well. Getting Matthews, to the side. And I think Tottenham Hotspur, if the players can actually, align together, there would be a problem for the big teams as well this season. So I think Tottenham should nick one against Brentford.
All right. Thank you so much, Will, for your time. Thank you. We'll look forward to having you again on the show to talk about more in the Premier League and, of course, football in Europe. Looking forward to an exciting weekend in the Premier League. Thank you so much for joining.